Okay, today we're going to be working on a little dragon sculpture, and we're just going to be starting it. This is the dragon sculpture that I made as my example. So you can see I have scales, and he has a little face, and he has wings, and he's sitting on a little rock. So we are going to start with that little rock today to give him a base to sit on. A lot of times sculptures have a base, and it can be many different things for a base, but today we're going to make it look like a little rock for our little dragon to sit on. We'll put him over here. So I'm going to start with a small piece of clay like this, and I'm going to roll it into a ball, and we are going to start with a little pinch pot. So once I have it rolled into a ball, I'm just going to kind of put my thumb right here on it. See how I pinched a spot into it? My clay's a little dry, so I'm going to get one spot of water here. And then I'm going to pinch around. Do you see how I have my thumb in the middle, and I have two fingers on the outside? And I pinch and I turn. Pinch, turn, pinch, turn, pinch, turn. And I'm making basically just like a little bowl. But in a second, we're going to flip this over, and it's going to be the rock for my dragon to sit on. Okay. So that's a pretty good little rock for my dragon to sit on. I do see I have a lot of cracking around the outside here. So I'm going to take and with my water bowl, I'm going to put one finger in with just a little bit of water, not very much. And I'm going to go ahead and start to smooth out those cracks so that I don't have any cracking. You don't want cracking in your clay because it can lead to problems down the road. If you have a little crack now, when it starts to dry, it could become a big crack or even cause your clay sculpture to break. So we want to make sure that while we're working, we're making sure that we're addressing any cracks that we have and really smoothing them out and pressing the clay back together so that it doesn't form a weak spot where we might have a problem later on. So I'm really just smoothing it out. You notice I only use that one drop of water. You shouldn't need very much. Clay very quickly will become kind of slimy if it gets too much water on it. So we don't want to make sure that we don't get too much water. I have a little more cracking, so I'm going to use one more drop of water, kind of smooth it out here, just to make sure that we're ready to go. This looks pretty good. I look at the bottom. I'm going to smooth the rim of this pinch pot here just by kind of smoothing over top of it. And now I have a little base. I have a little rock for my dragon to sit on. Now that I have my dragon's base, I'm going to go ahead and start by making the body of my dragon. And we are going to start by using a coil. Now a coil is a cylinder of clay. And this coil is going to be a little different than most coils because this coil, I'm going to roll it just like I would a normal coil. So I have a little cylinder. And then I'm going to roll more on this end than I do on this end because this is going to be my dragon's tail and this is going to be my dragon's body. So I'm just going to take part of this clay. Do you see how part of it's sticking out of my hands there? I'm not rolling on this part there. I'm just rolling on this side. And I'm going to roll it, and I'm pressing more on this end until I get a pointed part of my coil and a thicker part. So I have a thicker part and a thinner part, and this is going to be the tail of my dragon. Okay, and again, I'm just going to take one finger and kind of smooth it around to make sure I don't have any cracks for the body and the tail of my dragon. All right, and then I'm going to think about how do I want my dragon to sit on my rock. And maybe I'm going to pull around the tail there so that I have my dragon kind of sitting like this. Okay, all right, and I think I have a little too much clay on this side, which is fine, that I can use this to make the legs. So I'm going to pull off a little bit and kind of look. Does that look like a good body and a good tail? I think that looks pretty good. I kind of like the way that it curves. Now you might say, Mrs. Burley, I want my tail to stick out like this. But what's going to happen when the clay dries is that this part here doesn't have anything to touch. It's all surrounded by air, and it will get really dry and it will break off. So I have to have my tail touch the rock somehow. Maybe I could have it curve like that. Maybe I could have it curve up more and swirl in more like that. Maybe I'm going to lay it flat. You can have your tail go anywhere you want as long as it is touching the rock all the way around. Now with my tail at the end here, I am going to take just a tiny bit of water on my finger and I am going to pinch it in right before the end. Let me show you that. Let me move this so you can see better. Pinch it in right here so it gets thinner. And now I'm going to pinch this side flat like this. And that'll give me kind of like a little diamond shape at the end. Now you don't have to. Some medieval dragons, you'll notice from looking at the pictures, had little diamond shaped tails, and some didn't. So it's totally up to you on whether you want that or not. All right, now that I kind of have my tail shaped the way I want it, I'm ready to attach my body and my tail to my rock. So I'm going to kind of put this here, and I'm going to take one of my tools and I'm going to outline where the tail and the body are touching. And I'm just going around and making a little line right here. And then when I pull this off, you'll see that I have this outline now and I know where to score. If you remember from years past, scoring and slipping is attaching two pieces of clay together by scratching the surface of the clay and adding water. What this does is it lets the clay stick together in a way that will make it stick permanently. If you put your hands together like this, I can pull them apart really easily. If you lock your fingers together, it would be really hard for me to pull them apart. So I'm going to score on my clay here, and then here, anywhere that it's going to touch, which is all up in here, I'm going to score here too. And I'm really scratching in to the surface of my clay to make sure that these clay will be like my fingers interlocking, so that this part of the clay will bond and squish together with that part of the clay. Now I'm going to add my water. I'm going to add a little bit of water here too. And I'm going to put it down where they touch. And I'm going to press all the way around. And if you did a good job, you can kind of see the water start to squish out as you go around. And that's one way that I know that it's well scored on. All right, now I'm going to smooth, got a little bit of extra water, so I'm going to smooth out any cracks or any bumps that I have gotten by attaching these two things together. And after I do this, I'm going to take a tool. I'm going to use this one, but you could use any one you want that looks like it will work. And I'm going to smooth out this spot here. I really want these two things to attach together. I don't want my dragon to fall off my rock at the end. So I need to smooth out this edge here. And I'm going to go all the way and smooth it around. All the way and smooth it around. Take the time to attach your dragon to the rock now, because if he falls off later, or she falls off later, you're going to have a problem. Okay, so now I have a little dragon body and a tail attached to my rock. Now I need to decide how many legs I'm going to make. I can make 2 legs or 4 legs, your choice. I think for this one I'm going to make 4. So I'm going to make 4 little balls, and I want them to be about the same size. So there's one sphere. Let's make another one. And I'm taking and rolling it in my hand. There's 2. There's 3. Oh, that one's too big. I need to pinch off just a little piece and re-roll it. There's 3. And 1 more piece. Looks about the right size. I can always change it if I need to. 4. Alright, so now I have 4 spheres to make my dragon's legs. Alright, now to make the back legs, to make all of these, I'm going to roll them into little coils. Roll, roll, just little tiny cylinder coils. I'm not going to roll them a lot. Roll, roll, and I'm going to set them right next to each other to make sure they're all kind of match. Okay, yep, these all look about the same size, so I'm doing pretty good. All right, now I'm going to pick my 2 bigger ones. They should all be about the same size, but these 2 are a little bit bigger, and I'm going to pinch those into an L shape for my back legs. L. See my little L shape? Looks like a little elbow almost. I'm going to do that again. Make my other leg. These are my back legs. Okay, and now I'm going to attach my back legs to the back of my dragon. And I'm going to do that just like we talked about before. I'm going to start by taking a look at where it's going to fit. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Right there looks good. So I'm going to score into my dragon and my rock, because that's where it's going to touch. And I'm going to think about where will the back leg touch, and it will touch right on this side. So I'm going to score on this side, and I'm going to add my water. little bit of water to both sides. That's will make my slip, my liquid clay. Then I'm going to press them together. And I'm going to take my tool and I'm going to go around the edge to smooth it out. Going around that edge to smooth it out. Okay, now I'm going to do it on this side. I'm going to take my little leg here and decide, well, if that one is there, I want it to be pretty parallel. So probably right here. I look at where it's going to be. Okay, now I'm going to take it off. I'm going to score both my dragon and the rock where it's going to touch. I'm going to flip over my leg, score the back of my leg, and I'm going in kind of a cross-hatching X shape. A little bit of water here, and a little bit of water here. I'm going to press those two things together, and then I'm going to use my tool to go around the outside edge. I'm going to go all the way around the edge. I don't want it to fall off. I don't want my legs to fall off, so I'm going to go around the outside edge. All right, now that I have my legs attached, I might make my little toes, and I'm just going to do that by taking my tool here and pressing in 1, 2, and if you want, you can use the point of it to make little claw marks too. Maybe I'll make 3. You can make 2 or 3. Dragons are mythical, so however you want to make it look is fine. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to draw my lines down to make little claw marks there. Okay. Alright, so that's the back of my dragon. That's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to do my front legs. So I'm going to think about where do I want my front legs to be. Maybe one there, one here. This one might be too big for right there, so I'm going to make it a little smaller, pinch off a little piece, and put it right here, I think. Yeah, that'll look alright. Okay, and again, I'm going to score the dragon's body and the rock where I want them to attach. Score my leg. Make sure you are slipping and scoring or your pieces will fall off, and that will be super sad. Press them together. Take my tool, blend it in. Go all the way around that outside edge. Once it's on, might even smooth out right here to kind of make sure there's no line right there. Once it's in, I'm going to press, press. Little line, little line, little line. Little paw. Okay, ready? Front leg, score, dragon's body, and the rock. Score, little leg. Put some water, press it in. Smooth around the outside with my tool. Make sure there's no line there. Oops, did not mean to make that little mark. I can smooth that out, it's not hard. Might move my tail just a little bit down. Okay, 1 paw, 2 paw, claw, claw. Okay, now I'm ready for, got all 4 legs. So now I'm ready for my head. Okay, now I'm going to take another little piece of clay here. I'm going to squish these ones back into my main piece so I don't lose too much. And I'm going to just roll a ball and a little bit of a coil. And then I'm going to decide how long I want my neck to be. And wherever I want my head to be, I'm going to push in, push in, push in, all the way around. You see I'm rotating it so that my coil gets narrower here and thicker there. That will give me a neck and a head. I'm gonna I want my dragon to have a little pointy nose, so I'm going to press at the end here to give it a little pointy nose. Yours doesn't have to have a pointy nose. It can look whatever you want. It's a dragon. But get kind of your face this basic way you want it. Okay, and then I get to decide how do I want my dragons. That's too big, isn't it? It's too big. Press, press, press. Maybe here instead. And I get to decide. Is that neck too long? That neck is too long, so I'm going to cut off a piece here. And you will figure it out. You just got to kind of move it around till you like it. Does that look good? That looks pretty good. I can have my dragon look up. I can have my dragon look down. I can have my dragon laying its head on the rock like that. I can have it turning around and looking behind it. So actually that's kind of fun. I kind of like the turning around and looking behind it. So however you want to attach that neck, just make sure you have it the way you like it, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to score the dragon's body and score the neck where they touch. Put some water, press them together, and smooth it out. Smooth, 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 smooth. And I just keep smoothing it around. Okay, we're going to talk about decoration here in a minute, but at first I want you to get all your pieces attached. Once you have your pieces attached, raise your hand or let me know. I'll walk around and kind of take a look, and then we'll talk about our next steps. I think my nose got too long. So just kind of smooth it out until you get your dragon the way you want. Okay?